You may see a kid who made it out of poverty by starting a tech company, becoming a millionaire by 15, 16 years old. You may see a man who's traveled the world, spoken on the most prestigious stages, and has had his fair share of TV appearances. You may see a man who's generated over $4 billion revenue for clients and runs an $18 million a year business at 25 years old. I sometimes struggle with this feeling of failure or being behind. Hey, it's Jaylen, and thank you so much for tuning in today and for your continued support on both YouTube and the podcast. You know, the goal of this channel is to discuss business, economics, and a little bit of politics, explaining what it means to you, how it impacts you, your business, and your family. On Sundays when I do post, it won't be every Sunday. My goal is less on business and more personal, more inspirational, and more aspirational. There is a great irony in my life. While others might see me as extremely successful, which I do see myself as successful, I sometimes struggle with this feeling of failure or being behind. Let me expand. You may see a kid who made it out of poverty by starting a tech company, becoming a millionaire by 15, 16 years old. You may see a man who's traveled the world, spoken on the most prestigious stages, and has had his fair share of TV appearances. There's points in my life that have also been so hectic where I've been asked to sign foreheads for strangers in airports or other things like papers and books, etc. You may see a man who's generated over $4 billion revenue for clients and runs an $18 million a year business at 25 years old. I see that man too, but I also struggle with this idea that that man has done all of that, but at 25, as he strongly desired, does not have a wife and her kids. But something the other day happen that needed to happen. I'm driving my slingshot to get a piece of gear for my office before speeding off to get a haircut. And let's be clear, I'm squeezing in by the grace of God this pit stop to be there on time for this hair appointment. It's 85 degrees outside and I see a panhandler or homeless man. And as I get closer, I see his family. Immediate thoughts come to my mind. Most importantly, I don't have cash. So that's what I intend to say when he approaches me, because obviously I'm in this vehicle. I'm exposed to the outside. I can't hide behind glass or hide behind a window. And as I tell him I don't have cash, he says there's a CVS or Walgreens. He points down the street and says he just wants water or juice and points back at his kid. So luckily I have water in my seat back of my slingshot. I grab it, I give it to him, and he has this joy and gratitude that broke me. So I began to drive and I'm like, well, that was a lot. Like even just that moment, that was a lot there. So I go down the street and I've given him his water. So at this point, I'm done with his request. But as I get on the lot for this piece of gear that I need, I feel this conviction to get food for him and his family. So I get food. I go to Jimmy John's. I decide which card I'm going to use. It's a business card, personal card, foundation card, like the luxury that I have, right, to decide which business or organization or entity will pay for this man's $30 meal from Jimmy John's for his family who is in need of it. So I get the food, I get back, I'm processing logistics of how I get out. I'm like, okay, hopefully no one is blowing the horn at me for stopping my car in the middle of the road to give this man food. So I stop, luckily no one's behind me. I bring him this food, these 3 long, Jimmy John giant. I didn't know they had a giant until I ordered it. Giant sandwiches and 3 bottles of cold water. And again, he comes down the street because he's, again, working cars, his wife or his partner and his child, and they begin to open up the food, and the joy was tremendous. The smile broke me again even further. So as I drive off, I begin to just think and process and a tremendous amount of gratitude for the life that I've been afforded. It's not by my will. It's not by my mind. It's not by my strength, not by my expertise or my genius that I have been given what I've been given. It's by God's will and grace that I've had the opportunities that I've had. As I'm thinking on this ride, the first thing that comes up to me is embrace what you have. You've done all this at 25 and you feel like a failure because you don't have a family. Meanwhile, that man may have nothing but family, and he's fighting to provide for them in whatever way he can. I've been on this journey long enough to know that my journey is my journey. In the same way I tell people not to compare to me, I cannot compare mine to others. No matter what we have, we always want more. If we've made $1, we want 2. If we've made 2, we want 4. If we've made $1 million, we want 2 million. If we've made 10 million, we want 20 million. If we have 1 car, we want 2. If we have, it's always this game of more. And we must embrace what we have, because what we have are things that someone does not have, and they would fight to have it. We must embrace the wins, because our wins are ones that we've achieved that someone would fight to achieve. We must embrace the journey and the challenges that come with it. I have to recognize that my biggest challenges, as big as they are a luxury compared to the challenges that someone else faces. Must embrace growth, knowing that I will not always be at this point of the next thing that I'm looking at now being something that I want, because at some point it becomes a reality, but I must embrace the growth of from where I am to where I get to, and from every step forward from there. And must embrace the journey. The journey is what's critical. Getting there is great. Some of my favorite vacations as a kid were not the ones that I flew in an airplane to. They were the ones that were road trips. I remember driving to Virginia with family as a kid, and I don't know, what is that, 15, 20 hours, and at some point on that trip, a highway was shut down due to a gas or oil spill on the highway, and we were on the street, on the highway, chilled out with everyone around us. People were barbecuing, watching movies. It was a joyous affair, and that was the moment I remember most of that trip. Not the beach, not the food, not the time with family in the city. It was the journey that got us there that I often think about and often discuss. Now, I had no script for this video at all. I mean, I had an idea of how to start it, but where I'm landing it, I have no idea. I would say this: everyone has a journey, and on that journey, there are customized levels that are bespoke to who you are and to all that you'll achieve in this lifetime. Embrace that journey. Embrace the levels. Embrace what you have. Practice gratitude, because all the things that you have, and all those things that disappoint you or that make you feel like you're a failure or that you're behind because you don't have, are probably a joke in comparison to someone else who's wanting, who's desiring, who's dreaming to have the things that you consider the most basic wins in your life, like food, like a home, and so forth and so on. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, I hope this video, as short as it was, speaks to someone who's in need of learning to embrace what you have. I hope for that person who feels like they're behind or feels like a failure, there's a reset that happens. And it's not a hard reset, it's a soft reset. Oh, I still want those things, but I'm not a failure because I don't have them. I'm not behind because I don't have them. What I do have is life. I do have a home. I do have a car. I do have a job. And I think in that reset, you will find a lot more joy in the rest as you pursue what's next. If this video spoke to you, let me know in the comments. Like this video, subscribe, share with someone else who needs it. I'll talk to you soon.